obviously don't have any control over the verdict. We don't know when it will come or what it will be. I just think that it's really important for everybody in the city of St. Louis, throughout the state of Missouri, no matter what the verdict is, that we find ways to make sure that we're keeping peace here in the state of Missouri.
You're watching the most shocking and informative LRJ TV News.
Hello, I'm LRJ from LRJ TV News America. I want you to understand that today I'm going to educate you about the St. Louis Police Department. I've made videos before about Jeff Rhoda, the dirty, corrupted, nasty, vile police union. I have reported the stories of the corruption in this police department and the vile racism and hatred that these officers have. You know, it has been common knowledge that a lot of officers in the SLMPD are the ones out here performing these drive-by shootings, killing innocent people. That's true. That don't make sense. It's true. It's very much true. They drive by neighborhoods and they shoot up and they kill people. They plant drugs. They plant guns. And they're rapidly filled with Klan members. And the problem that we have with this SLMPD is that no one is doing anything about it. This judge right here has been presiding over many cases involving these sorts of things with the police department. This judge right here, in my opinion, is a part of the problem. And I'm not saying that he's going to give a not guilty verdict, but whatever it's going to be, that cop won't even serve 2 years in jail. So let's recap about what happened, and then I come back.
I'm Heather Taylor, the president of the Ethical Society of Police.
I'm Reddit Hudson, a former member of the Ethical Society and the co-founder of the National Coalition of Law Enforcement Officers for Justice, Reform, and Accountability.
Ethical started due to racism internally within the police department and racism that members of our community were facing at the hands of the police department. In 2011, Anthony Lamar Smith was shot and killed by Officer Jason Stockley. During the course of that investigation, there were several things that we found alarming, that violated policy, that led us to believe that his actions were that of someone that had committed murder, that he wasn't defending himself in the line of duty. So Bianchi is allegedly yelling out, "Gun." That's Jason Stockley's partner at the time. Bianchi, after yelling out "gun," holsters his gun. We find that odd. And once again, when Stockley is at the vehicle where he ultimately kills Anthony Lamar Smith, Bianchi's gun is holstered again. And there are several officers that arrive on the scene. Also, another point is the DNA that was located on the handgun that was recovered, a handgun recovered by Jason Stockley, who searched the vehicle without gloves. Why he took off his gloves is very alarming as well, because it violates policy. It's not normal policy to do that. And the DNA is only that of Stockley. It's not that of Anthony Lamar Smith, who, according to Jason Stockley, during the course of this case, he pointed the gun at him. So he had his bare hand on the gun, and DNA is hit or miss at times, but Stockley's explanation is that DNA is bizarre. No, what's really important to note is that it's his DNA and not that of Anthony Lamar Smith, among about 20 other points we could mention. So collectively as a board, we came to the decision that we need to support a conviction of Jason Stockley for murder, and that's why we're here.
Videotape. We were troubled by the multiple trips that Officer Stockley made back to his vehicle after he shot Anthony Lamar Smith. We know for sure he brought at least one extra gun to work with him that day that he was not supposed to have. And then when the gun is recovered from Anthony Lamar Smith, only his DNA is on it. Underneath the screws where you assemble and disassemble a gun, his DNA is under that. That's a problem, along with his statement that I'm going to kill this guy when we stop him. Now is the time for us all collectively to call for accountability for police officers all over this country when we've seen Eric Garner murdered on the corner in New York City in broad daylight, Tamir Rice murdered, 12 years old, Officers that come from these communities, black officers, officers that come from marginalized communities that serve. We have to end the institutional racism that is at its foundation. We have to challenge the system from inside of it. But with unity, it's harder to pick off individuals who stand up for what's right. And that's why we put this call out now. We shouldn't even be in a position to wonder whether or not Jason Stockley is going to be found guilty or innocent.
Charges say Stockley was heard saying during the pursuit that he was going to kill Smith. Officials have not accused Stockley of planting the revolver, but they said tests disclosed only Stockley's DNA on the weapon.
Get him! Shots fired. Oreo. West Florida, followed in, clear 1242. 11. Slow everyone down, subject to custody. Clear 1242. Yeah, go. Subject is going to be in custody at West Florida, Central 1243.
Breaking news this noon is that News 4 is hearing from law enforcement and court sources who say they expect the judge to hand down a verdict tomorrow in the murder trial of former St. Louis police officer Jason Stockley. The trial ended just over a month ago. News 4's Lauren Traeger has been following this case closely and was in court for the trial. She joins us live this afternoon from outside the courthouse with the details that you will hear only on 4.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Claire, we have spoken and reached out to numerous sources in law enforcement and in the court system here. I've spoken with many of them personally, and a number of them have strongly indicated they believe the verdict will come down tomorrow. They're expecting it and they are preparing for it. Now, as you know, Jason Stockley is charged with first-degree murder in the shooting death of Anthony Smith in 2011. The prosecution has argued that Stockley intended to kill Smith, but the defense has argued that Stockley acted in reasonable self-defense. A trial lasted 5 days last month here at the courthouse. It wrapped up on August 9th, and since then, people have been anxiously awaiting the verdict. Now, the judge in this case, it's a judge only. There is no jury in this case. The judge can consider lesser included homicide charges like second-degree murder or voluntary manslaughter. So we could be getting a verdict of guilty or not guilty on first degree, as well as guilty on, say, a lesser charge. We do not know at this point exactly what time that verdict will come down. I want to be clear on that. We do not have an exact time, or we do not know exactly how the judge will render that verdict. There are legal options for the judge to issue a written order, say, or he may be bringing the parties back here to the courthouse for a public hearing. Claire?
Lauren, what are some of the parties involved in the case telling you at this point?
Well, I want to stress this. There is one person and one person alone who knows exactly what will happen, and that is Judge Timothy Wilson, who is deciding this case. We did reach out to the courts. They say they cannot officially confirm or deny exactly any point of timing at this particular point. The defense and the prosecution say they cannot officially comment as well. Now, we have reached out to police in both the county and the city. They say at this hour they have not received official notification of exactly the timing on this verdict as well. We've also reached out to the mayor's office.
Protest is a cornerstone of our democracy. That said, law enforcement will do their job and follow proper protocols to stop unlawful behavior and de-escalate situations as needed. Anyone intent on violence or vandalism toward people or property will be arrested.
What are we protesting tonight?
The Metropolitan Police Department has ordered its officers to work 12-hour shifts tomorrow, and News 4 has confirmed St. Louis County is also putting all of its officers on 12-hour shifts starting tomorrow.
Now, the mayor has also been in close contact with the governor, who today signed an order allowing the National Guard to do what it needs to do. Governor Greitens has said he won't rule out or even hesitate in calling in the Guard.
He explained they came here to Kirkwood to try and bring attention to a case happening just a couple of miles away in the city to an audience that might not be following it. But at one point, some of those protesters blocked part of this road.
Get out of the road.
I'm not
what
blocking
are we
you.
protesting tonight?
The driver you saw talking to the protesters earlier sped through the crowd in the road.
Let me paint this picture to you. A white governor, a white judge, white police chief, white attorneys, and a white man who shot and killed a black man. You've seen the video. You've seen how the cop lied. Not want a jury trial? Because the same judge that's presiding over this case is the same exact judge who has been so involved in the police business. You know, they said that the judge was tight-lipped. He just kept quiet. But I don't know whether you caught this or not, but I did.
Stress this, there is one person and one person alone who knows exactly what will happen, and that is Judge Timothy Wilson. As you mentioned, Claire, we have spoken and reached out to numerous sources in law enforcement and in the court system here. I've spoken with many of them personally, and a number of them have strongly indicated they believe the verdict will come down tomorrow. They're expecting it, and they are preparing for it. Now,
Exactly. See, the police know what's going on. They're planning. And I was on Facebook and I was watching a lot of these Klan members talk about bringing in a National Guard. And I look at each and every person profile. They had the thin blue line or the American flag as they cover. People, we need to wake up. Not knowing that we're being put and forced into a war. Then every time you go on Facebook or any social media, why they don't see black folks protesting about this? Why they not protesting about that? Why they not protesting? But then they sit around and say, I'm so tired of all these black people always want to protest about everything. And when they protest, we're going to send in the National Guard. See, y'all don't see what they're doing. They're purposely trying to push you out to the front lines so you can lose your life. That's what they want. Y'all be a fool to sit there and give these people what they want. I'm LRJ. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Why? Because you be glad you did. I love you all. Peace.